Hey everyone, welcome to another quick episode of Average Joe's 3D. I'm your host Fergie, and today we're doing a Benchie. Now I'd asked around and looked around, and I haven't seen anybody supersize a Benchie yet. Of course, a Benchie is one of the first things that you print out, just to make sure that all the arcs and stringing is working correctly. And this is as big as I can make it on a CR10 without flipping it on its end. The detail on this is incredible. The gunwale is nice and round. This arch is amazing. No stringing at all. If you take a look at the back, you'll see that the hole is perfect. And even the writing in the back is really great. Here, take a look at this. Look how amazing the clarity and the detail and the definition of those letters are. Unbelievable. I am so happy with this. I am 28 hours into a 31-hour print, and I got to looking at it as it's printing today, and I realized my mistake. Everything printed perfect because it's vertical, but when I go to print the roof, I have no idea what it's going to do. There's no supports. There's no way that a CR10 can span that much distance and put a roof on this thing. I think it's going to be pretty much an epic failure, but we'll see. We'll get a little bit longer, and hopefully this can go through. I'll show you that on my next video. But I just wanted to show you the Supersized Benchie. I'm really happy I did this. There's so much support in there when I pick it up. I'm pretty sure it's going to be really hefty and heavy. But even the printing on the bottom of it, that you usually can barely see, is really crisp. I could see it when it was first going down. So this is my Supersized Benchie, and we'll cross our fingers and see how it goes. So here we are a little bit further along, and look at this. It's actually bridging that distance. I don't know how it's doing it. That's a long way to go. It's unbelievable that it could bridge that far with just some normal PLA. It is about 2 inches across there. I don't know if this will ever happen again, but today it's making it across. Now I want to make sure all the layers bonded. So as it was getting closer and closer, I actually made this piece of cardboard. It's just a little bit more, about 2.5 inches. Made some slots in it so that not only could I put it in place, but then the sides trying to spring back in place would hold it, because although it bridged the gap, I didn't know when it went to put in my supports where they would just droop down. So right now it's doing the first of the supports. Let's see what happens. And it seems to have done some good supports there. And now it's starting to fill in the roof, going in diagonal. As you can see, I do have a piece of cardboard in place. Now the cardboard doesn't have to be tight. It just has to be there to prevent sagging in the hot plastic, so that as it cools, it should give it a pretty good base, like it did for the window, in order to be able to build the roof. Alright, so far so good. Looks like one side might be a little bit high, but I think it can make up for it. So let's take a look at how we built the cardboard that I'm using as a raft. So I took a piece of cardboard approximately the right size, a little bit bigger, and then I used an X-Acto knife to score lines. Now make sure you go with the grain of the cardboard, not against it. That way, when you go to bend it like this, it bends very easily, and as you can see, it tends to flex back out to push against the sides as you push it in place. to keep it in there without having to glue it or tape it or anything like that. Now, what I've been using is a small piece of duct tape right across here. I put it on both sides. And so what this does is it adds a little bit more flex. It does bend, as you can see. Here we go. But the duct tape is going to give me a little bit more of a springy action, so that when it's inside like this one is, it gives me a little bit better grip along the walls. Okay, so you can see I have a hole here. It may have been a little bit high. I'm getting some ripples here. So you couldn't use a brace like this for the final product, but once it fills in the other way on the roof, like it is on this one, and the smokestack, it should be supported, and it really should smooth itself out. So I'm going to let it go 2 or 3 layers, and then I'll move that piece of cardboard out of the way so there's no flex or any kind of distortion in it. Oops, almost got my finger. And we'll see the final product. And this is the 3rd or 4th layer here. You can see it's pretty smooth. Now, in the 2nd layer, there was a bunch of wrinkles. They were going this way along. So I took some sandpaper, and as it was printed over here, I went behind it like this, and it was actually sanding the PLA as it was printing somewhere else. And I was able to knock down a whole bunch of the wrinkles just by doing this. So, I mean, like there's a wrinkle right there. Let me get it. You can see a couple wrinkles here. Now I know that because it's so big, it's anchored down pretty good to the build plate. So I can be a little bit more aggressive than it might have been if it was something like Pickle Rick. So I can do this as it's doing something else and smooth it out so the next layer is good, because I'm assuming that it's going to honeycomb on top of this with interior support, and I want to make it a pretty good base. So the roof of this should look amazing. One downside, I suspect that the plastic melted to the cardboard. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that cardboard out of there. I'll try it later on today, but it may be a permanent part of my model. We'll have to see what happens. This is why, when you're taking a look before print, you add interior supports to places just like this that are easy to snip out. So we're talking low resolution, so I don't have to go create my own raft. Alright everybody, this is a big reveal. It's finally done. Super duper mega side Benchie. Let's take a look at the detail. Now when I blew them up, I figured I'd lose some detail. It wouldn't hold up to being such a large piece, but it's incredible. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bottom first. So when we look at the bottom, oh sorry Benchie, look at the detail. Look how deep it is. Look how crisp the lines are. It's pretty incredible. We look at the back. Let's see if I can get some. There we go. Same thing here. These letters are spot on. The holes perfectly round. The decking, beautiful decking on this. I haven't cleaned it up yet, but there's no strings in here. I got a little piece right here, and the holes up here, underneath, needs a little bit of cleaning. But overall, look at that. Look at the layers. Look how they stuck. This was a 34-hour print, and all the layers really stuck well. Now, I did do the wrap for the roof. It did come out. I was afraid that the plastic was going to melt to the tape, but it came right out with no problems at all. Now, let's take a look at the roof here. Look at that. That roof is great. The ribbing on the roof really stands out. Now, the original Benchie, I mean, you can see it a little bit, but not much. Here, it is great. It's symmetrical. There's no problem There's no layer separation. The smokestack is solid. This thing is nice and heavy. It must use a lot of plastic, but I used just a 10% infill in this. Great job. I'm really happy with this. Hope you enjoyed this quick little video for a supersized Benchie. As always, go ahead and subscribe to Average Joe's 3D. I'm your host. And you guys have a great New Year's.